Hello, welcome to the Garden Gurus. I'm Trevor Cochran. We've got another fantastic program packed full of down-to-earth gardening advice and some real inspiration. I'll be taking you back into one of my favourite autumn gardens here in Budapest in Hungary. It is absolutely stunning, I promise you'll love it. But here's what the rest of the team's got for you, being filmed right around Australia. On today's show, Bonnie shares a clever way to care for our soils. I'll show you how to create a colourful bromeliad tree, and we'll take you into a stunning Japanese garden right in the heart of Hungary.
Dig, 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 digging around. Dig, 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 digging the ground. I got my spade, I got my hoe, I got my rake, and I'm ready to go.
Have you got a spot in your garden that's quite shaded, or do you have a patio area that's in need of a bit of inspiration? Well, ferns are great for creating a cooling and just a happy atmosphere in your garden. So, let me show you how. So I've picked out a whole bunch of different ferns, mainly for their contrast, colour and texture. So first up we've got Asplenium bird's nest fern, really common variety but a great one. And then we have the kangaroo foot fern, which you can see on this side growth here, has a nice little fluffy foot. And then a favourite of mine is this blue star. It has beautiful blue foliage and it's just a great contrast plant. Now when you're planting all of these, you want to use a nice quality potting mix, and this holds a lot of moisture, so it'll help keep these guys happy in the heart of summer. Ferns really dislike drying out for long periods of time, and it can be the undoing of them. Having a good soil for them to grow in is going to be the first step in their success. I think I'll plant this one here as it's going to be the largest out of the three. By planting the largest plant at the back of the container, it will give it a lot more dimension and interest. Plus, it gives these little ones a bit more room to grow. I'll be watering this probably every single day in summer, but in winter, I get a little bit of a break and I'll probably water it once to twice a week. And for fertiliser, I'm going to use a slow release fertiliser. And you can apply this every 3 months, and what this will do is encourage a lot of healthy new growth. And I think it looks pretty good. So if you end up creating your own fern combination pot, we'd love to see a photo, and you can send that through to us on our Facebook page.
I've got a fantastic project for you. If you can find one of these, this is a paperbark tree. It's a branch had broken off a tree down the road. It was on the roadside collection, so I've picked it so it's not a fire hazard and brought it back here to create something I absolutely love. It'll be my second bromeliad tree, and paperbark is the perfect way to create it. Bromeliads have a unique adaptation where they require roots only to stabilise the mother plant. The plant has evolved to capture all the moisture through a vase-shaped foliage structure that not only holds water and captures leaf debris, but also makes the perfect home for tree frogs. The process is all pretty basic really. For a start, get an assortment of bromeliad varieties and maybe some air plants. You can split your own plants as they produce pups or babies, or you can buy them cheaply, particularly at markets, cash and carries, and swap meets. Then simply tie them to the bark. You can wrap cocoa peat or even rotted leaf litter around the base and tie them to the tree, in the forks, on branches, and even to the trunk. Garden twine is perfect, but you don't have to worry too much because they'll produce wiry roots that'll grab hold of the paperbark and get a tight hold after a year or so. The goal is to get them upright so the vase fills with moisture. And the best watering system for these plants, well, it's simple. It's a Holman misting system. Now, it's a simple little kit you can set up. It's designed to cool the areas that you're sitting in and enjoying, but fantastic for watering these kinds of plants. And you can start it quite simply with the Bluetooth operated tap timer. Absolutely brilliant. And last but not least, feeding is important, but don't get carried away. Just a diluted sea salt liquid with some power feed once a month over the foliage is all they'll need. And the good news is, well, these plants do flower and they look amazing when they do. How's that for a simple but very effective project? This will cost you absolutely nothing but it'll look $1 million. And if you want to get a list of the varieties that I've used and varieties that you might be able to get your hands on, all you have to do is download the fact sheet from our website. It's that easy.
This is quite a special plant. It's called a Cuba japonica, the Japanese gold dust plant. And what makes it so special is the more sun you put it in, the more green the leaf will go. And then the more shade you give it, the more gold flecks you get in the foliage. It's truly spectacular. For more great gardening tips and inspiration, stay tuned after the break here on The Garden Gurus. I'm back here in sunny Perth at a friend's house, and the garden has changed so much since I was last here. And after such a hot summer, it's not a bad idea to give our plants a little bit of good tender love and care. And the same goes for the soil, which can be left forgotten. And one of the best ways to do this is through feeding. Fertilising your garden now is great for your plants, as it will give them that extra boost they might have been looking for. But it can also help with your soil's recovery. I'm using a favourite of mine, and if you know me well, you know it's Tro Forte. I've been using this for years in my own garden and it hasn't let me down. So I've grabbed myself a bucket of Tro Forte M. Let's talk specs. In this one bucket you have 24 soil microbes and up to 60 natural minerals, which will help to give you healthier, hardier plants, and with each application it will also help your soil too. Once you've cracked open the lid, these microbes will remain active for up to 11 months, so there is no rush to use it all up in one go. I found this patch here in the garden where the soil's looking a little bit tired, a little bit dull, and what we're wanting to do is get this back to a nice rich chocolatey brown colour, because it will mean that that soil's nice and healthy, full of a lot of organic activity. And by applying this once every 4 to 6 weeks will help to improve this soil. So it will be looking good in no time. The way I like to apply this is to use a few scoops and sprinkle them around the garden where I think it's needed most. Doing it this way, I can be a little bit more direct where I want the soil to be treated. I like to apply this all around the garden, and you can use this on already established gardens or around new plantings. When applying to the plants, sprinkle it around the drip line for the best result. Once you're finished applying it, give the soil a real thorough soaking, and this will help to activate those little microbes. And before you know it, you'll have hundreds of little microscopic helpers in your garden.
Now here is a plant that's really different, and primarily because of the way it produces its fruit, which is delicious by the way. This is the Barbados or Brazilian cherry, and you'll find the fruit's actually produced off the trunk. So this will produce flowers here, then develop fruit. And the fruit itself, well, it's absolutely scrumptious. Now, cherry, grape, it's a similar kind of sort of flavour, and you can see there, you just peel the skin off and the flesh is delicious. I'm a massive fan of the autumn because it delivers so much colour if you pick the right plants. Now let me show you some of my faves. This has to be one of my favourite trees. It's called Cassia fistula, or the golden shower tree. It originates from the Indian subcontinent, loves hot, dry conditions, so it does particularly well in places like Perth and Adelaide. It will grow in Melbourne, and it loves the north of Australia. It's absolutely terrific. Now, these magnificent golden racemes of flowers are produced, depending where you are, from the north, basically in around November, December, right through to the south, January, February. And it just looks sensational. Bougainvilleas kind of went out of fashion for some strange reason, but I reckon they're back. Look at this beauty. Now there's a lot of different forms, all with names. This one is known as Mary Palmer. Now they love it hot, dry, and being a little bit water stressed this time of the year, you'll see the best flower. If yours is not flowering, it's likely because it's getting too much water and too much fertilizer. So back the water off and the plant will produce masses of colour just like this. Interestingly, what most people think are beautiful big bold flowers are actually what we call bracts. Now these are modified leaves that are brightly coloured. The flowers, the little white tubes on the inside. The bracts are designed to attract pollinating insects from far and wide to come and pollinate the plant. What a show off. I'm a huge fan of fine foliage trees, and November and December sees jacarandas explode into blue colours, but this one, which is a bit rarer but equally as beautiful and possibly a little more graceful, is the leopard tree. Now, it's an upright tree with massive yellow blooms about now. The foliage is fine and it lets filtered light through to the ground, but the highlight is the bark, which is how it gets its name. It becomes mottled as the tree matures with a distinctive leopard patterning. One of the more structural feature trees in my garden is this beauty. It's the bottle tree originating from Queensland. It's an Aussie native that's adapted to storing moisture in its trunk, which swells, creating a huge bottle shape. This one is only 6 years old, but it already looks amazing. Imagine your street was lined by these beauties. They'd be like sentinels guarding the homes. If there's one tree that I would love to see councils using more of to line avenues, and for people with larger gardens to use more of, it's this one. It's a beautiful poinciana, Delanix regia. This is a stunning tree, gets to about 15 metres tall, but it's got a spread of about 20. This lovely ferny foliage is lovely and shady during the summer months, and it's topped with these spectacular flowers. But come wintertime, it drops the foliage, and that allows the light through, warming your garden. My last highlight has to be this one, the simply divine frangipani, which is entering its home run before the flowers finish and seed sets. These trees are relatively cold tolerant, not keen on frost, but they love heat, tropical or dry. And the flowers, of course, are divinely perfumed. These trees are incredibly tough, and if you want to grow them, well, you can grow them from cuttings, but you can also transplant them. In fact, these were both saved from demolition sites. They're 30 to 50 years old, and if you're going to do something like that, now's the time to do it.
I think it's safe to say that almost everyone has come across this plant at some stage in their gardening life. Spathiphyllum peace lily is one of the most popular indoor plants around. For years, I've grown them in my home, so let me show you what I like to do to keep them thriving year-round. When you're choosing a spathiphyllum, there's a few things that you want to keep an eye out for. And the first one being that the clump is nice and thick, just like this plant here. And then the second thing, now you want to do this quite gently, is just to wobble the plant from side to side, and you can see there's a fair bit of resistance. So I know the plant has got really nice, strong roots. I think I'll go with this one. I've picked out this pot here. It's about a 17-centimetre pot, and the reason I haven't gone too big too quick is to reduce the chances of it being overwatered. When you're repotting, always go about 1 to 2 sizes bigger than what the plant is currently growing in. Now, let's get to the soil. I've picked up some premium potting mix, and now this has the red ticks on the bag, and what that means is that it meets the Australian standards for good quality potting mix. It also contains some slow release fertiliser and wetting agents, so all the vital things to give this plant the best head start. There is no need to tease the roots of this plant as they're already nice and healthy, and they're not pot bound. Caring for your spathiphyllum is really easy. Now, when you're putting it in your home, put it in a nice well-lit room, but keep it away from a hot window because their foliage is quite soft and it could burn. And when it comes to feeding, I'd probably feed this every 3 months, so spring, summer and autumn. But for the moment, we won't need to worry because the soil has us covered. And all there's left to do is give this a really good deep soak of water and then watch it grow.
I've fallen in love with Budapest in Hungary. It is absolutely beautiful and the perfect place to begin my Viking Grand European cruise. But before I do, I'm going to take you back into one of my favourite botanical gardens. Now, the Fülverskirt Garden here in Budapest is absolutely amazing, home to double the number of plant species that you'll find in all of Great Britain. In just a few acres of land, you can discover all sorts of amazing plants. This was originally set up back in 1771 as a training garden for training doctors so that they knew the herbal plants that they could use, hence its name, which literally means the herbalist. The greenhouses are full of hundreds and hundreds of different species of plants that originate from equatorial regions right across the globe. In fact, wherever there's humidity, you're going to find these plants. These are bromeliads, and there's pretty much one of every different type of bromeliad I've ever seen, including a spectacular collection of these air plants. And you'll see them all hanging down out of the branches of trees. They don't require any soil, and what makes them so incredible is they take the moisture out of the atmosphere to sustain them and allow them to grow. How cool is that? The greenhouse boasts a beautiful collection of orchids. These exotic beauties would have been simply amazing to people back when the garden and greenhouse first opened. And today, it continues to dazzle. Bonsai, which means planted in a container in Japanese, is an ancient horticultural practice that was first started in China before travelling south through the Korean peninsula to Japan, who made these plants famous for their incredible beauty. The interesting thing is these plants can live for thousands of years and are generational heirlooms passed down through the generations of families. While springtime might be home to the Sakura festival here, that is the flowering Japanese cherries, autumn time is the time for the incredible Japanese maples. And take a look at this. You'd find it hard to find something as beautiful as this in a place like Kyoto. It is just gorgeous. The garden also contains 85 critically endangered local species of plants, making this botanical garden's conservation activities extremely important. Whilst the collection has 85 local endangered plants, it also has 250 foreign endangered species here as well. With over 8,000 different plant species and cultivars found in this garden, you can understand why it's being managed by the Hungarian National Cultural Authority. These guys look after all the great buildings and monuments you'll find in beautiful cities like Budapest, and this garden deserves that level of attention. It is absolutely stunning, one that you must make sure you come and check out for yourself. You might think we're in the heart of Japan, but we're actually in Hungary. This has got me wondering. The garden here is called Japankert. Kert is garden in Hungarian, and this is a fascinating Japanese garden, quite literally thousands of miles away from Japan. But the plants are thriving in the similar climatic conditions here. Budapest has a few Japanese gardens, but this one is the oldest in all of Hungary. Designed and built back in 1928 by Martin Varga, who was the founder of Varga Martin College, a horticultural college where this garden is located, and who must have had a great love for Japanese garden design and culture. The use of rock very much defines Japanese garden style, and they've used two types of imported limestone, spring and freshwater limestone, to create the effect here. It really does add a sense of spirit, and to get all that limestone imported and then ship it into here and move it around the gardens, they actually used horse-drawn tines back in the day. Would have been quite a significant process, but my goodness, what a wonderful effect. It looks great. The design is clever in that visitors to the garden are guided by the flowing water through it. At the final point is the stylised snowy peak of Mount Fuji, a symbolic representation of this unique region of Japan. The most prestigious tree in the garden is Acer platanoides, also known as the Norway maple. It's a species of maple native to Eastern and Central Europe, but also Western Asia. Of all the weeping trees that you could have at home, I reckon this would be the most beautiful. This is the Japanese weeping pagoda tree, and they are absolutely stunning. It's an incredibly hardy tree. They grow in most environments quite well. But take a look at that. Look at the shape and the structure. It's one of those trees that you can just sit and admire all day. I'm not going to do it all day, but I'm going to sit and admire for a while. The ginkgo biloba, a healing, long-lived ancient conifer that almost became extinct in the 17th century before making a renaissance, features in this garden too. And a Japanese garden without a flowering cherry, well, that's unthinkable. I'm not sure why there are so many beautiful Japanese-style gardens here in Hungary, but there are, and the best time of the year to admire them, well, autumn is special. But spring, when the flowering sakura, the weeping flowering cherries are at their best, would be just amazing. Now, if you want any more information on many of the gardens that we visited and all the others that you can check out, all you have to do is simply visit our website. Well, that's it for this week's show. I hope you enjoyed it. Now, the good news is we're back next week and we've got a great episode packed full of down-to-earth gardening advice. This really is a wonderful time of the year and we've got some great plants to show off over the next few weeks. Now, if you want to know anything from today's show, or maybe you've got some questions you want to ask, check out our website or become a friend on Facebook. Trevor Cochran. We'll see you next week for the Garden Gurus.